Well, welcome from Busy to Rich podcast, designed to help advisors increase profitability and quality of life, but not just for yourself, for everybody that's in your atmosphere of influence. And today, I am your host for once. And I get to ask a lot of questions, and I've got somebody with me that you guys are going to love. The people that listen to this podcast and consistently, he's our guy. I'll just tell you that right up front. Dennis Moseley-Williams. Dennis, I got to hear you on a podcast, and I think I was about 5 minutes into it, and I went, I got to know who this guy is, because speaking my language, brother. So I really appreciate you being here and sharing with all advisors today. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Delighted, my friend. Delighted. Thanks for the invitation. Nice to meet you, everyone. Thanks for spending some time here in the blogosphere.
Yes. Well, man, I'm just ready to get rolling with you, because we can go so many places. We had a call, listeners for this, and we were like, well, what are we going to talk? And we went a lot of places. In fact, so much we said we got to stop talking about this, because we need to do this on the podcast. We got to record it. So as I just love it for the listeners, can you give us a little bit of like who you are, what you do, what your life's like day in, day out, so they can kind of know who Dennis is?
Sure. Well, first and foremost, I'm a dad, and I live up here in Ottawa, Canada, but I've worked in the United States for close to 3 years. And my work is I turn businesses into movements. So my wife jokes that I turn businesses into cults. She goes, you're a cult leader. That's what you're doing. You're creating cults.
But a good cult. A good cult.
I'm using the cult for good. And when that's right. It's a terrible word, though. Nothing really is particularly good associated with it. So I'll say this. When we talk about a cult-like following, we know everybody hears that knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Yep.
So what I do is I turn businesses into brands that everybody's talking about, that grow through organic growth and word of mouth by becoming a story. Frankly, a story about something more than the goods and services that the business offers, which are always commoditized and uninteresting, fungible, easily replaced by the identical.
Love that. I love it. And there are so many things that I want to talk about with you. What I would love to talk about is what you just said there to kick things off on. When you're going in and observing a business that is, man, it is awesome. It's firing on all cylinders. It's everything that you want it to be. Yeah. Versus most of the businesses you observe, what are some of the key takeaways that you see as massive differentiators between the one and the other?
Culture. Culture is the only one. Like, we could list 100 of them, right?
Yeah.
The only one that matters is culture. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. That's what Peter Drucker said, and he was right. When I go into a business that is thriving, I've gone into businesses that are thriving, and the owner of said business is a nut. There's no, a lovable nut.
Yeah.
Has no idea what the hell they're doing. But because of their culture, their team shows up for them in ways unexpected, and the magic happens. Okay?
Nice.
I know there's people sitting out there going, oh, I might be considering turning this guy off. He could be losing me. Just hear me out, everybody, specifically that particular demographic. Culture is a weird word, but we know it when we feel it, and even more critical, we know it when it's missing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the businesses that thrive, they have a culture of belonging. That's been my observation. And as such, they represent something to the client. It's not about their value isn't what they sell people or what they do for people. Their value is who they help the customer become. So there is this culture that the business wants to have people belong to them, and they want to help them. And this is a term that I'm going to give credit where it belongs, which is in the godfather of the experience economy, Mr. Joseph B. Pine, whose new book which is all about human transformation, he references human flourishing. Isn't that beautiful?
Love it.
Me too. And you know what's beautiful? I used it the other day in a conversation about my daughter. How's Ella? I said, she's flourishing. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay, now, for all you financial advisors in the crowd, for all you financial advisors, that's the business you're in. Human flourishing. No, my client Jim, he's a miserable prick, but I'm going to make sure at the end he has $5 million and he's still a miserable prick. That's not the job you're in. Your job is to help people are interested in flourishing, in becoming a better version of themselves. And from where I'm sitting, the money business is poised to do that. It's not money. It's not wealth management. It's wealth care.
I love this. Love this because one of the key, like in our organization for our culture that we talk about all the time, and our listeners, they're probably tired of hearing me say it, but I just can't get away from it. Great book, The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield.
Love it. Oh, come on. Sing it to me. I love that book.
And what he makes the statement, most of us have two lives, the life we live and the unlived life within us. Between those two stands resistance. And when you're unleashing human potential in the life of a person to help them get to the unlived life within them, there's nothing more powerful than that. And when your culture is built around that, so that the things you do are just tools to help you get them to that place, it becomes really a fun movement, and it attracts and it repels. And I think that's a good thing.
Oh, well, there's two things I want to say.
Okay.
You got to cut this out, Wes. We're going to be here for a while. Okay. The first is,
let's try. We can turn it into 2 episodes.
Okay. God, I almost lost it. I almost forgot both of them. My God. It's the end of the day here in podcast land. I'm going to combine plane tickets to changing lives today. First, I want to say this. Yes, what you just said is exactly right. And I want to remind everybody listening, it's how you help them flourish isn't just your clients, it's your team. In fact, that's where it should start. That's what a culture of it is. Everything you want your team to do for your clients, you have to first do for your team. So who are you helping your team become? Bunch of money rolls in. You get most of it. They get some of it. What else do they get? What's in it for them? They're all working for you, the business owner, to help you achieve your dream. They're getting paid for it. Yeah, I have something so funny to say. I'm not going to say it, but it's funny. They're getting paid for it. What else are they getting? Is that supposed to be enough for them that they go home, okay, and say, I'm helping Wes Young build his dreams for this many thousands of dollars a year and a tragic amount of vacation time? Or do you sit down with your team and say, so what do you need from me, man? Like, what do you guys need? What do you need? What do you want? What's your aspiration, person who answers my telephone for me? Person who my clients love? What's your aspiration?
Yeah.
How can you, as the business owner, make that happen for them? You should be doing it for the people who work for you, and you should be doing it for your clients. The next thing I wanted to say is you said, this sort of experience, this sort of idea will attract. Well, I want to say 3 things. I take that back. I want to say 3 things. It will attract, you said, and repel. Okay, so 2 things. 1, about attraction. I said that your practice should become like a community or a club. And you're not the financial advisor person. You're not the CEO. You're the leader of this movement. Okay?
Yeah.
In every city in North America, there's a YMCA. It's a health club of sorts. The YMCA in every town advertises for members every day. Marketing. Okay, notice me, and come and sign up.
Yeah.
Every town in North America also has a members only club where you have to apply to get in. Okay. Here in Ottawa, it's called the Rideau Club. Okay. They have a waiting list. And it costs a lot to join. They attract, they pull.
Yeah.
You want to pull people towards you. And the last thing I want to say is repel. What you're about, I'm a financial advisor. I'm really about holistic planning and listening and blah, 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 blah. Like all the other financial advisors say. Yeah, whatever the hell it all is, it's all the same. And I was laughing a moment ago because I realized I said Jim's a prick now 3 times on your podcast, but he is, and somebody should really talk to him about it. What's more important than what you're for, because what you're for is what all the financial advisors are for.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to know what you're against.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you hate? That's what I want to know. What, as a financial advisor, I know what you're for. What are you against? Who don't you want as a client? What frustrates you? Okay. And here's something you should be against. Complacency. I'm against who if you imagine saying to a client, if there's something, if you really want to know what sends me home to scratch my head, like I got to go home and talk to my wife about it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I have these people in my office today. It's people like you, your age, educated. You worked, you saved your money to raise your kids. You've earned the right to go have a life, but they're not. They're just sitting at home watching TV.
Yeah.
And I just, and I just think how powerful this is. I just don't get it. And that's why in my work, for a lot of people like you, Wes, you didn't need too much of a nudge. You needed a financial plan. And then all you wanted to talk about was your fantastic hobbies. And they're similar to mine. And you and I just clicked. I have people that come in. I said, now what do you want to do? And they literally have no idea. Like you have a bucket list. They don't.
Yeah.
So I make it my mission, my purpose here at my big idea is the serious shift. So I'll just use that.
Yeah.
Here at the serious shift. It's about what? Fulfillment. It's about what Stephen Pressfield calls resistance.
Yeah.
By the way, his other book, Do the Work, Wes referenced this a few minutes ago. He said Stephen Pressfield's book, The War of Art, not to be confused with The Art of War, which we all read in university. This is The War of Art. It's a beautiful book. You'll love it. And his other book is called Do the Work. And you should buy it for every young person you love. Plus, your brother-in-law who's dragging his knuckles on fixing himself. Get him that book, Do the Work. Anyhow, and Seth Godin's Linchpin. That's a good one too. Now I got the Holy Trinity. I covered it.
Yeah.
But that's what I believe, man. That's what I believe it. Okay. And if I'm an advisor and I'm busy and I want to go from busy to being rich.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to stop doing stupid things.
Man, there's so much in this. And I want to come back to a couple things here. I love the whole idea because this is when we're working with advisors, we teach this 11-week class and go just deep into the way we think and how we do it and the language we use and why. But a big part of it is how do you build a great team? Because you're never going to accomplish what you're capable of without great people that are even where you're going and want to be able to thrive. Where I find most advisors that are struggling to get and keep good people is I always ask them, I say, because they'll do the Colby and they'll do the Working Genius and all these great assessments and say, yeah, those are all, you're doing a lot of the right stuff. But what story are you inviting them into? Is it come work for me? I'll pay you. Because if that's the story,
are they getting from this other than come and work for me? I'll pay you every 2 weeks. And this is what, what's the mission? What's the bigger story they're joining and the purpose? Yeah. What are you asking these people joining your team to belong to? And then how do you immediately meet them where they are and show them what it feels like to be on the right end of that?
Absolutely. Yeah. There's a Arthur Brooks. I don't know if you've gotten to read some of Arthur's work, but he is a behavioral psychologist, teaches a class at Harvard University on the art and science of happiness. And it's beautiful work that he's done really cool stuff in the business world. But he talks about what are the micronutrients of happiness? And he defines them as enjoyment, satisfaction, and meaning. Enjoyment being that place where, hey, it involves pleasure, it involves people that create memories. And satisfaction is interesting because it only comes by overcoming hard things, overcoming challenges, things that are difficult, things that require, we actually, believe it or not, to be happy, we have to suffer a little. We have to struggle. We have to overcome things, maybe endure a little pain,
Yeah.
The meaning one, that's one that is so pivotal that he brings up because it's all about faith, family, friends, and work that matters to others.
That's right.
You can have a big ambition and it be very self-seeking and self-focused, and you can accomplish a lot. But you talk about a miserable person or a miserable job, it is that absent of meaning. So if you're listening, just
exactly. It's not exactly the opposite of misery isn't happiness. It's purpose.
Yeah.
And something you belong to and something you do and help others do. Precisely.
And people can find a lot of meaning in a meaningful role within a meaningful organization. And it can't be just come work for me, I'll pay you. You're going to get the revolving door of people. They're not going to give you good effort because they're tired. They're not excited about the work. But if you can remind them, and every week in our team meetings, one of the things that we talk about is, hey, what is our win? What is our win organizationally?
Right.
We want to increase people's profitability and quality of life. How do we do that?
Yeah.
Well, in our effort to get the most out of life, a lot of people live a very marginless life, and in so doing, miss out on some of the things that actually matter most to them in life. So when we're asking questions of the client, it's, hey, what's a rich life look like to you? Not 30 years from today, right now. Like, what's a rich life? A day in the life of you. If you could say, this year, if I lived a rich life, what would be on that list? And maybe even taking some things that you thought were a little further out on your list. We had a family that they are beautiful family, wonderful guy, built a really cool business. And when we started talking about this stuff, he said, well, I'll tell you one of the things that's on, eventually I'm going to go get. He said, I've always wanted to have this lake house because I grew up and my grandpa had a lake house. We'd all go to it as a family, create these family moments together. Occasionally I've rented one. I know the lake I want to have it on. And I said, well, John, why don't we go get a lake house? He said, well, no, I got to accumulate some more capital. I said, well, no, like I'm your advisor, right? So I know how much capital you have. And I could tell you for the size lake house you want to buy, we could get that sucker today. And here's the impact it would have on that liquidity. But it's not about accumulate. And then one day I get to live the rich life. Let's live the rich life now, because while your kids are growing up and they don't have the same moments, imagine if you didn't have those moments with your grandpa. He went out, got an amazing lake house. Now he's loving it. They have team meetings out there for his team. They have clients come out there to his house. They have amazing, amazing family events out there. And it's just one of those things that, but because the world he grew up in was, well, you're supposed to save. And then when you reach your number, and that's mythical, whatever that number is, right? When you reach that number, then I can do this. No, let's live a rich life while we're getting to that number, while we're getting to your fictitious number in your head that you think once I hit that, then. So I love this idea of meaning and really inviting them into a story, both your clients and your team, that they're excited about living.
Yeah. And you need to flesh it out, right? Like people listening, it's like, yeah, but what is my story? It's like, okay, I mean, your story is your big idea. Your story leads to your big idea. So it's like, don't overthink this. This is a funny thing to say. Don't overthink this while you think deeply on it. But it's this. Your big idea is a secret that you know that has served you well, that you want to use your business to teach. It's something that you would tell your children. It's your life philosophy. Sometimes in workshops, I'll do something like this where I'll say, here, fill this in. Most financial advisors believe to be successful, you need blank. And then sometimes I go blank. I think they're crazy. I think to be successful, you need blank. They think I'm crazy. Like, there you go.
Yeah.
You them in on it. Again, it's what you said earlier, Wes. It's not what makes Dennis Dennis. We're picking on all financial advisors. What makes Dennis Dennis? So Dennis, you said it all. Oh, I turned into cults. You said all kinds of nice stuff. What you're saying is you help people grow their business, right? Is that what you said? Yeah. Okay. So you're a business consultant. Yeah. How many business consultants are there working in the financial service industry like you? I'm being really generous. Oh, all kinds. Nobody. There's lots of them that think that, there's lots of them know what they're talking about though. Yada, yada, yada.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with most of them that are worth paying. We agree on almost everything. Then we happen to disagree on some things that are critical. I'm not saying that they're not right. I'm saying, oh, we all agree on 90%. The part that matters is where we disagree. And where I disagree is in this. This is my unique approach and perspective on these things. When I wave.
I love it. I think what I love about where this goes, because this is all about living a life by design and not by default. Most advisors come in to the world, they inherited an approach to this from well-meaning teachers and people around them, but they've never decided for themselves, what would I What would I create if I could do it any way I wanted that I think would be so meaningful with clients?
If I could teach my clients everything, I realized a moment ago, oh, I left you hanging there and I apologize. I didn't close the circle. What are you asking people to buy into is your big idea. And the big idea is about a transformation. Now they go, okay, now what are the pieces of the big idea? So the big idea is something like the people that know the secret can say to each other, but it wouldn't mean anything to anybody else. But to you and I, it would be like, this one goes to 11. You know what I'm referring to? Spinal Tap, the amplifier that goes to 11.
Yeah.
So let's just say that was the big idea. It's a code that means something to you and I. It means life should go to 11. We turn it 10, hell of that, to 11. Intention, purpose, passion to 11. So if you come into work one day and you say to me, oh my God, this weekend I did this, I said, to hell with it. And I golfed twice on Saturday. It was such a great round. What the hell? I just did it again. And I might then say to you, this one goes to 11, brother. And that would be our little way together to celebrate you living our big idea. You see what I mean? Okay.
Absolutely.
So you take the big idea, whatever your big idea is, everybody. Mine happens to be you're dead already. I'll explain it some other time. But it informs everything I do. What are the pieces of it then? What are the pieces of the big idea? So clearly for everyone listening, one of them is, well, you need funding. Okay, so financial planning and financial independence and money management, behavior management, and being at peace and in control, power over your money, not the other way. That's part of it? Yeah, good. And presumably in there, part of it is knowing what the hell enough is.
Yeah.
Okay, great. What else is it? Now, we're going to go off the reservation here because everybody's going to have different answers, but mine would be just to not leave people hanging. Okay, look, you got to have money to pay your bills later. And also when you have a financial plan and you know you're going to be okay later, it creates capacity for you to think about stuff that's important. So a financial plan, I'm not throwing that in because the people listening, or if I was talking to a podcast full of people that own shoe stores, and we got something like building belonging among the people that might come to your store, I would still talk about everybody needs money. It's a fact. Okay. And if people are listening and anybody who would fight that is like, you're the people I'm talking about. Look how upset it makes you. Jesus, that's why it's number one on my list, you nut. Okay. So once you have that, you can think about other stuff. Like what other stuff? You're going to need people who love you. And you're going to need to love people. You might not grow up and get married. I hope you do, because I did. And it was great. I have some kids and it's been lovely. But maybe you're not going to. You have to have friends. You have to have people that matter to you and you matter to them, you belong to, that aren't your blood relatives, the family that you pick. Here's another one. You need adventure.
Yes.
Okay? Here's another one. You need hobbies. I can't believe I said this so loud and I'm confessing. The other week I told my wife that maybe we should start golfing. I know everybody golfs. I don't. Okay. Like I said to Sherry, well, I'm just actually trying to be a little smart. Everybody golfs, I said. And we're getting older. And we need things we can do together. And golfing, it's a fact. Hey, we went to Portugal on a vacation. What'd you do when you were there? All the usual stuff, but now we have something else we can do. Oh, we went to a couple of beautiful golf courses and had a couple of lovely days. Hey, it's a pastime, gets you. You need hobbies and passion. I would say this to you. The things I'm against. Don't you get old with your thinking.
Love it.
Mind if you get chronologically old. In fact, as my client, I completely accept that you're going to die. Okay. The part that's offensive to me is you're going to get old. I don't like that part. Okay. You trust me. This is my rules of life. You don't want to start getting set in your ways. You don't want to be that old guy who doesn't understand how things work.
Yeah.
No. If the smartphone was invented today in 2025, I had to actually look and confirm that before he said it out loud. You don't want to be one of those people that thinks I'm too old to have one of those. No. And you need physical fitness. So we got all these little tenets of our big idea, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Again, how are you going to communicate those? That's the piece to come up with. That's the communication schedule and the value for your client. Wes, you're amazing. Every time you send me stuff, you're not going to believe this, but all of a sudden I'm now tracking how many steps I take. Boom, that's a transformation. Way to go, Wes.
Yeah.
Get inside their head, man. Turn them on. Bring them together. That's what a cult is.
Yeah.
gather together to what? Achieve the big idea and learn about it.
So I want to share with you. So I just wrote this book that is called Beautiful Savage, and because it is an expression of our culture. And when I look at some of the happiest people I know that are doing great things and just truly good people, they embody the elements of a beautiful savage. And a beautiful savage, just the quick version of it is, has a big ambition and a grateful condition and a savage persistence to dance with the resistance between the life they're living and the unlived life within them.
Okay.
And with that, there are so many things you just said that are in that. So don't get old in your thinking.
Yeah.
We use this phrase all the time around here is, hey, normalize the new. Normalize the new. Because one of our greatest opportunities to recognize our future possibilities, it isn't about like abandoning your normal necessarily, but it's also not about rejecting new. It's about keeping the tension between the two. And you can look, I mean, there's tons of people and business examples of this, but like my dad was a franchise director for a large franchise of Blockbuster videos back in the day. And I remember him coming, he was sat on like their board and all that kind of stuff because they were a publicly traded company, but they had this private franchise. They had about 30 stores themselves. But I remember him coming and saying, I think our days are numbered. And this is like in the heights. So this is like 2000. Blockbuster's a $6 billion giant, had 10,000 stores across the country. But he was going to the meetings and he was hearing all the corporate side of how they were saying no to these opportunities. One of them, ultimately, we know as Netflix. Netflix was a fledgling 140,000 subscribers. They were doing DVDs in the mail, the U.S. postal system at that time. And they came to Blockbuster. Look, we've got this idea. This is working. Blockbuster should buy us. We will run the online division of Blockbuster. The future is going to go in this direction. And they said, well, how much would we need to pay for Netflix? And they said $50 million. Now, keep in mind, that sounds like a lot of money. They're a $6 billion company, right?
I know.
So $50 million. And they flatly declined, said, look, nobody's not going to want to go to a video store. We're going to continue to compete with what got us where we are. They were defending their normal and rejecting new. 10 years later, Blockbuster files bankruptcy. Netflix is a $9.6 billion company. Today, I think they're in excess of like $500 billion. But they are masters at normalizing new, at where are things going, trying stuff on, exploring the frontiers of their ignorance.
You couldn't have picked a better example than Blockbuster. I used them in my keynote.
Oh, awesome.
And I wrote a blog about them 50 million years ago called Why Blockbuster Went Lackluster. Lame, I know, but I did it.
I like it. Rhymes.
Here's what I want. Now let's bring it back to Blockbuster and financial planners.
Yeah.
Okay. So Blockbuster had us locked in, man.
Yeah.
Everybody had their Blockbuster. You went in on Fridays and you got like 3 movies for the weekend.
Sure.
Right? Those were great days, man. Early in my relationship, but like you just sort of hunker in because you had the immediacy of we can watch Netflix whenever you want. It was actually more of an event.
Yeah.
What are we going to watch? We're going to watch one tonight and we need one for Saturday and maybe we'll watch a matinee on Sunday. So you get 3 movies, right? Okay. And there was this guy there. This was the observation. There was a guy that worked in my local Blockbusters. His name was Sam. And he connected me with all these fantastic films, stuff I never would have seen. He was a cinephile. So I would walk in and we'd sort of see each other. He'd be busy with somebody and then he'd just walk over and find me and hand me 3 movies. You know the movie The Departed?
Yeah.
Okay. Sam, for instance, got me to watch a movie called Infernal Affairs. And it's the movie that The Departed, however you say, copied. I don't know how you say that. It was from Hong Kong. And the original show was called Infernal Affairs. And it was a movie from Hong Kong. And they remade it as The Departed. Sam was like on the bum, like, hear me out. One day he hands me those movies. And I say, oh, thanks. Thank you, Sam. And then I look over and he's back at the counter. And everybody listen to me. What's going on is he's rung people's rentals in. He's done the transaction. But they're still standing at the counter. They don't want to leave. Okay? And he's slapping DVDs into the DVD player, connected to the television, and he's having fun with everybody. And he's showing them, he's saying something like, if there was an Oscar for the best 37 seconds of a guy drinking a beer in a movie. It's here. And he'd show this great scene. And they're all standing there holding their bags. The transaction has ended, everyone. The money's been made. Get out. The value's over. No, it's not. They're standing there saying, there's more value. I'm standing here. I don't want to go. I paid, and now I'm standing here because this guy's entertaining me. And in that moment, my friend Doc Borderlay was already getting Netflix. I remember asking about it. But what is it? He goes, oh, I love Netflix. This is what Blockbuster should have done. They had us trained to go to Blockbuster. They should have gutted their stores and put viewing rooms in there and a snack bar and a bar.
Yeah.
Okay. So you and I rent it on Friday night and we go screen a movie on a big screen with killer sound. And we got pizza and beers if we want or whatever the hell we want. They should have moved to participate and belong. They should have chose to matter more. Everybody listening, this is what's come back on you here. Instead, they thought they were a business that rents movies, when really they were a business to gather people. That's what a movie does. You bring the movie home and we all sit around, gather together and have a moment together.
Right.
Should have been gathering us at the thing. You'd be worth more. They're not even a friggin' app.
Yeah.
They're gonzo because everybody's head was in their ass. I wish I knew your dad at the right time. Now, financial advisors have now said prick and ass. For those keeping track at home. Okay, are you ready? You don't really think you sell investments, do you? Oh my God. Do you really? Because AI is going to eat you. You think that AI is going to take my job? I think it's going to take half your revenue, though. And then you won't be able to afford to do that job. So choose your poison. Come on, man. It's a new world. Subsume movie rentals into movie viewing. Subsume financial planning into guiding transformations, personal aspirations, or perish.
Well, I hope you enjoyed today's episode on From Busy to Rich podcast. We encourage you to go to the website, get signed up, make sure that you get notified as we release part 2 coming up as Wes and Dennis continue to dive into this conversation and more topics. Until next time.